Welcome everyone to today's December daily Q&A session for Neighbors Group and Solo401k.com. Today is Friday, December 18th. If you have not yet set up your Solo 401k with us, you have 13 days left to get that done by the December 31st deadline. Make sure that you get your application in. Once we receive your application, we only need a few hours to get your documents ready, and then you will be qualified for 2020. As a reminder, once you have your documents from us, then you have until tax day to make contributions to your Solo 401k plan. So the big action item for you, if you are new, is to complete your application and let us prepare your Solo 401k documents. That will get you qualified for 2020. Then you have a bit more wiggle room to open bank accounts and brokerage accounts and make your contributions. And thanks to everyone that's joining us. Hey, Jorge, how are you? Okay, so we have some pre-submitted questions here. I'm going to jump into those first. If you have any questions that you want answered here live on the session, you can type them into the chat on this side of the page, or right below, there's a button that says Ask a Question. You can type your question in there as well. The first question that we have comes from Ethan. Ethan says, you helped me set up a Solo 401k earlier this year, and it's been great. Due to a new custodian, there have been some challenges with our older self-directed SEP and 2 self-directed Roth IRAs. Wondered if you could help me with converting some or all of these into our Solo 401k. We may need a new or separate one for my wife's Roth. I'm not sure if this can even be done, and I'm certainly in no rush, but I do need to see if that's the best route going forward. Thanks. Great question, Ethan. So let's definitely dig in here. Your SEP IRA can roll into your Solo 401k. That's no problem at all. We roll in funds from SEP IRAs to Solo 401ks all the time. Now, if you're talking about a self-directed Roth IRA, that cannot roll into a Solo 401k, even the Roth portion of your Solo 401k. The IRS has some funny rules about Roth IRAs, and Roth IRAs are really a one-way street. Once money goes into a Roth IRA, it's stuck there. So Roth IRA funds cannot roll into a Roth 401k per IRS rules. So Ethan, in your situation, what we might recommend is that you can roll over your SEP IRA money into your Solo 401k, and then think about how you want to use those Roth IRA funds. You know, once you get a taste of checkbook control, it's something that really makes an impact on you, and you might be wanting to do something similar with your Roth IRA. The great news is you can. We can set up something for you called a checkbook Roth IRA, also known as an IRA LLC. Our team will walk you through the entire process. We can facilitate the opening of the Roth IRA. We form the special purpose LLC. We handle the transfers from start to finish. So what you end up with is your Roth IRA money in an LLC bank account that you control. And so you have that same checkbook control over your Roth IRA funds, just like you do with your Solo 401k. Now, one thing that's a little bit different here, Ethan, a Roth 401k versus a Roth IRA is Roth IRAs are individual. So you mentioned you have 2 self-directed Roths, one for you, one for your wife. If we were going to help you get checkbook control of these funds, we would set up a new checkbook Roth IRA for you and a checkbook Roth IRA for your spouse. That money cannot be mixed together. It needs to be maintained in separate accounts. So just as a recap, we can definitely help you roll over your SEP IRA funds into your Solo 401k. And if you're interested in having us establish a checkbook Roth IRA for either or both of you, we can definitely help with that as well. If you want us to get started on that checkbook Roth IRA or send you some information on how to get started, send us a message at support@solo401k.com. Thanks, Ethan. Okay, next question. Jim asks, we're trying to finalize the contribution for 2020, but aren't sure how to proceed. Please advise. This is a great question, Jim. And actually, what I want to do here is I'm going to share my screen with you, but let me make sure I have a couple of things open here and get logged in to our Solo 401k dashboard, because I want to show you a couple of things here. So give me just one moment. Okay. So now I'm sharing my screen. This should look familiar to you. This is our Solo 401k dashboard. And I want to bring your attention to a couple of things here, Jim. So first is in finalizing your contribution, remember you have until tax day, that's April 15th, 2021, to actually make your contributions. So if you've got your plan documents from us, which you do, then you are qualified for 2020. You do not have to rush to make a contribution right now. You have until tax day. But if you'd like to get that contribution done, you want to know what your next steps are, then on your 401k dashboard here, first I want to draw your attention to calculators. So this is really helpful. We've got our contribution calculators here, Roth versus traditional, Roth conversion calculators. I'm going to open the contribution calculator. This is a great first place for you to start, Jim, so that you can determine what your allowable contribution amounts are. So you're going to input your business type if you are a sole proprietor or if you're a single member LLC. If you earn 1099 income, then you're an unincorporated sole proprietorship. If you have a corporation and you and your spouse receive W-2s from your corporation, you'll put single owner corporation. Even if your spouse is a shareholder with you, the IRS considers you one tax-paying entity. So it's okay to put single owner corporation here. Jim, I'm going to, for this example, imagine that you have an S Corp and that you are paying yourself via W-2 wages. This net income here, this is what is reported on your W-2. So in January or by February 1st is the rule, you have to have your accountant submit your W-2 to the IRS. Whatever that amount is on the W-2 for your wages, your compensation, that's what you can put in here. So let's say that you earn $100,000 on your W-2, and then you'll put in your age here. Really, the numbers change if you're over or under age 50. So let's say, Jim, that you're 45. If in your S Corp, you received W-2 wages of $100,000 and you're 45 years old, then you're able to contribute $44,500 to the Solo 401k, which is pretty amazing, let's be honest. And if you want to get a little bit more detail here, then you just click on this button that says View Report. And then scroll down, and what you'll see is this is showing you exactly how this number was reached. So 25% of your W-2 income was the part of the employer contribution, that's $25,000. And then this is your elective deferral amount, that's $19,500. That's how we received or got to that $44,500 number. So step one is calculate your contribution. And then step two is you want to go back to your 401k dashboard, click on Forms, Contribution Form. That's going to open the contribution form here for you. And then you can complete this form and store it in a safe place in your records. Now, that's really all that you need to do for your contribution. You're going to calculate how much to contribute, complete the contribution form, and then the final step is to deposit those contributions into your 401k bank or brokerage account. One other item, though, I want to bring to your attention. So some clients will tell us, yes, my CPA said I have to do something formally electing contributions by December 31st. What the heck does that mean? Well, we'll help, and we can tell you exactly what that means. Back in your 401k dashboard, if you click on support in the upper right-hand corner, that's going to take you to our knowledge base at support.solo401k.com. And what I'm going to type in is formal, because I remember my CPA said something about formal election. Aha, this first article right here says how to formally elect your contribution by the December 31st deadline. And again, that's going to walk you through exactly what you need to do. So you can complete the contribution form, make that nice and official in your plan documents and in your books, and then boom, your contribution is officially complete, or at least formally elected. So Jim, if we go back to your question here, we're trying to finalize the contribution for 2020. We aren't sure how to proceed. What we would recommend is, if you already know how much you're going to earn for 2020, then use our contribution calculator, plug in your numbers so that you can determine your contribution amount. Then fill out your contribution form and deposit your contributions into your 401k bank or brokerage account. If you don't know what your numbers are to close the books for 2020, you want to at least formally elect your contributions, which means you fill out that contribution form to the best of your knowledge and best of your ability. And then you have until tax day to actually deposit your contributions. Always work with your CPA. It's important to get their blessing on the numbers that you're using for your contributions, and they'll be able to help you claim those contributions on your tax return. Great question, Jim. Thanks so much for bringing that to us. Okay, next question we've got here is from Guy. Guy says, I'm signing documents to invest in a real estate syndication. Awesome. In the docs, they are asking if I'm investing as an LLC, individual, IRA account, trust, etc. Since my solo 401k account is a trust account, is that the entity I'm investing as? Yes, you're exactly right. Your 401k is a retirement trust. So whenever you're completing these subscription documents, private placement memorandums for real estate syndications, the investor is a trust. And then you'll put your 401k trust tax ID number and your 401k trust name as the investor. Don't list your own self. Don't list your social. The 401k is its own entity. That's why it has its own tax ID number. So again, on those real estate investment paperwork for the syndication, you want to include your 401k trust name as the investor, your 401k trust tax ID number as the tax ID number associated with the investing entity, and then wire funds to the syndication from your 401k trust, bank, or brokerage account. Great question, Guy, and so glad to see that you're investing and making good use of your solo 401k plan. Okay, next question comes from Anna. Anna says, we opened a self-directed checking account with Solera Bank and would like to have a Roth and traditional 401k accounts for both Robert and Anna. This is the husband and wife. We were told by Claire this morning at Solera that Neighbors Group has to do that for us. We wanted to be able to fund all 4 accounts before Christmas. Can you help? Yes, we definitely can. So the great news is, Anna, that your solo 401k with us automatically includes both a pre-tax and a Roth 401k account all in one. The IRS calls this a designated Roth subaccount. So essentially, your 401k really has 4 buckets. So Robert, there's your pre-tax, that's your traditional 401k funds, and Robert's Roth 401k funds. And then you've got Anna's traditional pre-tax 401k funds and Anna's Roth 401k funds. The easiest way to keep track of all of those buckets of money, because you are your own plan administrator, is to have 4 bank accounts. So when you go back to Solera, just let them know we just need a new trust checking account. So what you might have, Anna, is 4 different trust checking accounts. They're all under the same name. That's your 401k trust. They're all using the same tax ID number. That's your 401k trust. And when you're going on to the Solera platform, you can create an account nickname. And what you might do is something like Robert-pre-tax, Robert-Roth, Anna-pre-tax, Anna-Roth. That way, at a glance, you can see all 4 accounts descriptively named and then make your contributions. Now, all you need to do is contact Solera and let them know that you want to add 2 additional trust accounts. They might have thought that you were trying to open a Roth IRA. You just want to clarify for Claire at Solera. This is just another 2 checking accounts that we need added to the 2 checking accounts we already have for the solo 401k. Do keep in mind that just like most retirement plan providers this time of year, things get a little crazy busy. So be patient with Solera if they take a little bit longer than normal to get back to you. I know that their team is working really hard. They bring on extra staff at this time of year, just like we do, to help deal with the support load for new accounts. So just make sure you're sending them an email or giving them a call and let them know that what your ultimate outcome is to have 4 trust checking accounts for your solo 401k trust. Great question, Anna. Okay, next question comes from Bonnie. Bonnie asks, I just started with you guys, and I have a few questions on how to go about creating a loan for someone from my 401k. I know I'm supposed to create some docs like a loan, but I'm not sure how to do so or if it's something you guys handle. Please give me a call. Great question, Bonnie. So the solo 401k is a checkbook controlled retirement plan. And what that means is that you are the boss of the 401k. Neighbors Group and solo401k.com, we handle all the stuff on the back end. We write your 401k. We get all of the amendments from the IRS, restatements, changes in plan language, increases in contribution limits. We take care of all of the back office stuff. And you handle everything on the front end, Bonnie. You find the investments that you want to make with your 401k funds and you execute on those investments. So in this case, if you want your 401k to be a lender, then what you would need to do is you want to work with your tax advisor, your accountant, or your legal counsel and have them create a promissory note for your 401k as a lender. Neighbors Group does not provide your investments, so we don't provide your investment documentation. Your accountant or legal counsel is the perfect person to do this for you. And just let them know, hey, I've got a 401k plan. My 401k is self-directed and I have checkbook control and I want to have my 401k plan act as a lender. I need you to write a promissory note where the 401k trust is the lender and then the person on the other side of the transaction is the borrower. So make sure you're working with your legal counsel, Bonnie. Your legal counsel or your accountant is going to be the person that will create that promissory note for your 401k to act as a lender. Now, I want to pause here for just a moment because sometimes in retirement accounts, we throw around a lot of different terms and the same term can have multiple uses. So when it comes to loans, sometimes people are confusing the 401k loaning you money, called a participant loan, with the 401k acting as a lender. So you want to make sure you're distinguishing here, Bonnie. I think it's pretty clear here. You want to create a loan for someone from your 401k. It sounds like you want your 401k to be a lender. So your 401k is going to lend money to someone as an investment, and then that person is going to pay back the loan plus interest, and that's a way for your 401k to make money. And in that case, that's when your accountant or your legal counsel will create the promissory note so that your 401k can act as a lender. Another way that people use the word loan, especially with 401ks, is something called a participant loan. And this is where you personally are taking a loan tax-free from the 401k because you need some access to cash. This is not an investment that your 401k is making. This is the ability for you to tap into money from your own 401k. So I want to just make really clear in this distinction. It sounds, Bonnie, from your example here, you want your 401k to act as a lender. This is an investment that the 401k is making to another person, and that person is going to pay the money back to the 401k plus interest as a way for the 401k to earn investment returns. If you instead are taking a participant loan from your 401k where you personally need to take a loan from your 401k, then that's a different protocol. So I think though we've got your question covered here, Bonnie, as far as the 401k acting as a lender for purposes of investment returns. Great question, Bonnie. Okay, the next question comes here from Andy. Andy says, I set up accounts at Solera for me and my wife. We also have some set up at Schwab, and I opened an institutional account at Coinbase for the trust. Great, Andy, it sounds like you're really taking action and getting your account set up and your ducks in a row, and that's awesome. Andy says Coinbase only allows one account, where the others will allow separate accounts for me and my wife. Oh, good distinction here. So just like we were talking for you, Anna, you and Robert, you guys each have your own bank account at Solera. Andy, you did the same thing. You and your wife each have bank accounts at Solera. You each have brokerage accounts at Schwab. Great. Coinbase only allows one account, where the others will allow separate accounts for me and my wife. If we wanted to invest more into Coinbase, does that mean we'd have to combine the accounts and then simply track the transactions? How do you recommend doing that? Great question, Andy. I think that there's a couple of ways that you can approach this situation. So if you are bad at keeping track of records, then it's probably going to be challenging to keep track of who put in what to a single Coinbase Prime institutional account. If you're bad at keeping records, what we would probably recommend is that one of you have a Coinbase account, Coinbase Prime for the trust, and the other participant open a separate crypto account at a different exchange. Kraken, Bittrex, Gemini, Binance US, they all support trust accounts. So if you're bad at record keeping, then Andy, you could have a Coinbase Prime account for your 401k trust funds, and your spouse could have a different crypto exchange account, still in the name of the trust, and only her 401k trust funds would go into that account. If you're pretty good at bookkeeping and you can keep meticulous records, then it is okay for your funds to go into that 401k trust account. However, you need to keep excellent records of whose money is whose and whose holdings are whose. So if you are wiring funds from your participant account, your spouse is wiring funds from their participant account, and you're each buying different crypto holdings, you need to keep a record and a transaction history of whose funds and whose holdings belong to whom. If you can do that, then that single Coinbase account should meet your needs. Awesome. Great question, Andy. And again, congratulations on getting so much done already. Okay, so next question is from Sunil. Sunil says, hi, Rachel. One of the crypto services is asking for a trust certificate, which is stamped or signed by the appropriate governing body in order to onboard. How and where do we get this document? Great question, Sunil. So retirement trusts do not have trust certificates. Retirement trusts have trust agreements. If you need a trust certificate, then what you would probably do is have your accountant or your legal counsel create this certificate of trust or trust certificate for you. Certificates of trust and trust certificates, basically what they do is they list the trust name, the trustees, the trust tax ID number, powers granted by the trustee. It's sort of like what's in the trust at a glance. But that just doesn't apply to retirement trusts. So we have had clients where for different closings of deals or accounts they're trying to get open, this has been requested. And what we recommend is that your accountant or attorney prepare a certificate of trust for you. Now, one thing to note here. So Sunil, you said stamped or signed by the appropriate governing body. It sounds like this particular exchange maybe thinks that this is a normal trust, like a living trust or an estate trust that could potentially be registered at the state or federal level. Retirement trusts are not. Retirement trusts are private documents. You can't search a Secretary of State website for anything about your retirement trust. It's private. So there is no governing body that oversees your particular retirement trust. Your retirement trust answers to the rules of the Internal Revenue Code. There's no other intermediary governing body. Excuse me. So what you might choose to do here that can make things a bit more official is have your attorney or your accountant create a certificate of trust. So give them your tax ID number, your EIN letter for your 401k, give them your trust agreement, and then they should be able to create a certificate of trust for you, and then maybe have that notarized. A lot of times what these exchanges are trying to do is they want to legitimize the entity that is applying for the account as part of the exchange's due diligence, know your customer, anti-money laundering policies. They have to go through certain steps to legitimize that they have done their due diligence and research on the entities that are applying to have accounts. So that's probably what they're doing here by having your accountant or attorney create your certificate of trust and then having that notarized. Hopefully that should be sufficient for the exchange, and then they will get your account open. And Sunil, I know you and I have talked a few times about this, so I hope this means you're at the very end, last stages of being able to get this account open so that you guys can start trading. All right, well, those are all of our pre-submitted questions. If you have any questions you would like answered here live, feel free. Oh, here we go. All right, Catherine's got a question. Let's get this going. And if you have any questions, guys, as you're here, go ahead and submit those in the chat right on this side of the page, or right below. You can click ask a question and type your question in there, and then we'll get to as many questions here as we can. This next question comes from Catherine. She says, hello, Rachel. Hello, Catherine. Speaking of keeping track of records, would you remind us about the forms we need to fill out to keep in our 401k file when keeping records? Compliance forms. Okay, great question, Catherine. So the solo 401k is a self-administered, self-trusteed plan. So what that means, Catherine, is for you as the plan administrator, your job is to keep an official record of the 401k's funds movement, okay? You need to keep track of the money coming in and going out and coming back in and going out. So this might be money coming in, could be rollovers. This could be contributions. In that case, you would want to complete the appropriate forms, and I'll share my screen again here. One moment. We'll jump over into our 401k document portal. So, oh, I got logged out. Let me log back in here. Okay, so under forms, we've got quite a few forms for you that can be helpful. This contribution form is really important for you to keep for your own records. You do not need to send a copy to Neighbors Group. This contribution form is going to keep track of money coming into your plan. Additionally, though, you might have a master record. Maybe it's a spreadsheet or a QuickBooks account where you're keeping the books for your 401k plan. Additionally, if you went to your 401k plan and trust, that's this here. This is a zip file. Inside of this folder is a rollover acceptance form. You can complete that. Again, just store it in your own records as your receipt of receiving rollover forms. So remember, we're talking about how to keep good records, keeping track of money coming in. That's going to be contributions. Use your contribution form, or rollovers. Complete your rollover acceptance form. Put those with your 401k documents. Keeping track of money going out might be an investment that you make, in which case you might choose to complete an investment direction form. This is where you're saying how you are investing the funds. This is great to keep track of if you're investing in things like syndications, real estate. So you might complete this investment direction form and keep a copy of this with your subscription agreement. So, who was it? Guy, you were asking about real estate syndications. If you invest in the real estate syndication, you will get a copy of the subscription document. So that's great. You want to keep that for your records as proof of how you were investing your 401k funds. And then, you might want to complete this investment direction form as well. So really, Catherine, to answer your question, what we want you to be able to do is have a clear, accurate record of your funds movement in the 401k plan. We provide a lot of the forms that can help every step of the way. And then you want to make sure you're keeping a historical record as well. So again, a simple spreadsheet of the funds coming in and going out, or a QuickBooks account that is going to keep track of your investment returns. Always good to know how your 401k is actually performing. And that's what you want to make sure that you are keeping track of as the plan administrator. Now, remember, your 401k does not have a tax return. So once you create your QuickBooks account and you're entering all of your information in, you don't need to file a tax return, but you do need to keep a historical record of all of the funds movement in your 401k plan. Great question there, Catherine. Now, I do want to tack one little answer on here too, as far as record keeping, what we need to fill out and keep in our 401k file when keeping records and compliance forms. So you need to keep track of all of the funds movement for your 401k plan, but you also remember there's sometimes forms that the IRS wants a copy of. So if we go back, let me go back to our document portal here for a moment, to your dashboard. Okay, so one other thing here is once you have $250,000 or more in your solo 401k plan, then that's when you need to create a 5500 easy. Now remember, our software will create this form for you. So all you need to do is fill out this short questionnaire, and then our team and our software will prepare the 5500 easy for you. And then you, as the plan administrator, will print that PDF and then send that off to the IRS. So from a compliance perspective, Catherine, that is something that you will need to provide to the IRS once you have $250,000 or more total in your solo 401k plan. All right, great question, Catherine. We'll take one more last call for questions here. You guys have had some excellent questions. And remember, we're going to be doing these Q&As every day until the end of the year. So I know there's a lot that can happen going into the end of the year. Certain questions might pop up last minute, and we want to make sure that you have the support that you need. So there's multiple ways that you can get this support. If you haven't joined us yet in the Solo 401k network, make sure you come on over there. I'm pretty sure that most of you have, since you're joining the Q&A from the network. But I just want to show you there's so much going on. It's a really exciting place to be. So let me share my screen one more time. So this is the Solo 401k network at solo401k.net. And it's a great way to connect with other account holders, meet each other, learn from each other, and then also have your questions answered. So we've got these quick kickstarts happening every single day, this Q&A every day at 3 p.m. And oh, Marie, I see you couldn't connect to the live stream. Hopefully you're on here now. We will have this information in the network every single day so that you are able to access these Q&A calls. And yes, the Q&A calls are even on the weekends. So Saturday and Sunday, we are here. If you've got questions, we are here to support you. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Really great to be here and support you. We are so proud to be on this journey with you guys. You're doing such an amazing job. And just a reminder, if you haven't set up your plan yet, you've got 13 days left. So don't delay. Go to solo401k.com. Click the big blue button in the upper right-hand corner of the application, submit your Solo 401k application, and our team will be here to help. Have an awesome rest of your day, everyone.